Is TCU going to win outright at Arizona State? And can Houston blow out Oregon State on the road? Now, BYU will win by double digits, right? Wrong? I don't know. This is Beat the Books. It's time to make some money with the best bets in the Big 12 on Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. I know what you're thinking. The audio is kind of weird. Why does the guy sound like he's in a can? I am in Dallas for college football kickoff with the Dallas Cowboy Jesse Holley and the legend Gary Patterson, and I forgot my microphone. So these are my AirPods that I'm coming to you from today. But here's why you should not go away yet and should continue listening to the clunky, weird audio that I'm telling you right now is weird and you're not crazy. You should listen because I'm 13-7 this season on Big 12 best bet picks, 13-7. So if you put $100 on all these, you'd be up like $5-ish, $100. You know, Vegas weights this whole thing. Here are the best bets this week. Let's go through them quick and tell you why I'm picking TCU over Arizona State. This game is a road game for TCU. I have them winning outright as like 3-point underdogs right now at plus 120, meaning if you put $100 on them and TCU wins, you get $120. The biggest piece right here, the defense of Arizona State has not been a stalwart. 39th against the pass. They were decent against Sawyer Robertson. I think Josh Hoover is better. He's currently being touted, Hoover, as maybe the best quarterback in the Big 12, and I wouldn't be shocked if that comes to fruition. Number 17 passing offense in the country, and TCU has ran the ball at a more effective rate this year under Kendall Briles than they did last year. Arizona State defensively, 117th in the country against the run. Now, TCU defensively is not great against the pass. Here's the bad news for Arizona State, though. Guess who hasn't been very good throwing the football? Sam Levin hasn't been very good with the pass. So I don't trust the offense of Arizona State yet. I think if they do score in that 28 range, which is kind of where they camped out in this Baylor game, 27-28, they will lose 35-27, 35-28, 38-28. TCU goes on the road and gets it done. They are arguably the most potent offense in the Big 12. I don't foresee the Arizona State defense shutting them down. Best bet number 2, give me the Houston Cougars on the road against Oregon State. Now, part of this is because I think Oregon State is absolutely putrid. I am right in that assessment, by the way. The other piece of this is just how good Houston actually is, namely on defense. The Houston offense, 73rd in the country throwing the football, 111th running it. That's not good. But the Oregon State defense is one of the bottom 15 in college football against the pass. It opens up an opportunity for Connor Wegman to build confidence, and it's going to be a pretty bad atmosphere at 10:30 Eastern on the West Coast. Oregon State is not a dangerous place to play. Then Houston's number 1 in the country against the pass, number 27 against the rush, maybe the number 1 analytical defense. Now, these are all efficiencies that I'm giving you. EPA is an efficiency metric. This is the reason Houston will suffocate Oregon State. There is not a world to me in this game where Oregon State comes up with 20 points. Is where I would set it. I mean, Oregon State scored 7 against Oregon, 14 against Texas Tech, 27 against Fresno State in a loss. They've not won a game this season, 15 against Cal. Houston will score at least 30 points. They scored 35 at Rice, 36 against Colorado at home, and in a 35-13 game, which is likely where this ends up, Houston wins the ball game and they cover by a mile, 13.5. I think Houston covers this one. I would even buy it up to 20 and play an alternate line on this game. Now, I've been winning a lot of money thanks to savvy picks. And one savvy pick I didn't have last week was West Virginia to cover at Kansas. So I'm going with Kansas minus 4.5 against Cincinnati this week. My gut is telling me the Kansas Jayhawks might be good. And last season, I had them at Arlington. They were in my Big 12 championship game. Obviously, that didn't pan out. But I think this year, Kansas can once again vie for the top, could topple some people that you thought would be really good. Now, Cincinnati analytically looks good. They are pretty effective throwing the football, number 8 in the country. Kansas defensively has struggled in that category. That's why I think this game could get higher scoring. Conversely, Kansas very good against the rush. Number 23 in the country defensively, efficiency-wise against the rush. If they shut that down against Cincinnati, as they should, numbers tell me they should, Kansas has a leg up to defend the pass with a little more rigor. Defensively, and here's where I think this game really comes down to something that is in Kansas' favor. Jalen Daniels and the Jayhawks offense is number 22 in the nation throwing the ball. Cincinnati's number 102 against the pass. That disparity, that large of a disparity, is the reason that I think Kansas is going to win this game by a touchdown or more, especially looking at how hot they were last week. I was very impressed the way they played against a hapless West Virginia team. I don't say hapless to be offensive, but West Virginia has like 0 players healthy. Kansas rolled in that one. I think they roll in this one -4.5. I'm going to take them. I would also buy this one up too and it won't move to this, but if it moves to 6, if it moves to 7, I like the Jayhawks. Let's go to Utah. Well, actually, let's go to Morgantown, West Virginia. The Utah Utes will play at West Virginia, and this is one of my picks of the week. Utah is going to win this game and win this game going away. I don't foresee West Virginia, because of their injury issues, staying in this game. Defensively, I don't hate the Mountaineers. It is offensively where this game is going to become rough. For Utah, they're 60th in the nation passing the football. West Virginia's defense is number 24 against the pass. Now, Utah's run game could probably be effectively established in this contest, which is what they'll want to do offensively. And if Utah scores 24 points, 28 points, 31 points, as they probably should, they're going to cover the 13.5, because I do not see West Virginia being a very dangerous offensive team. They're number 132 in America throwing the football. I know they're banged up. I don't know where they go from here. I don't know if you bring in the third string and hope for the best. 13.5 is mostly because of West Virginia's inability to score. Utah had the inability to score against one of the best defenses in the Big 12 last week, but I think Kansas and Utah defensively probably comparable. That's why if West Virginia can only score 10 against Kansas, against Utah, if they score 13, I still see the Utes in that 27 to 30 range points wise. If this game's 30 to 13, where I expect it to be, Utah's going to cover their 14.5. The last one, I'm going to go with BYU here. BYU -6.5 on the road against Colorado. One of the biggest reasons that I'm going with the Cougars is analytically their defense is incredible. They have arguably, I mentioned earlier, Houston efficiency wise is also in this category. Arguably the best defense in the country. BYU is number 5 in net EPA per play offensively and number 34 in offensive success. Very successful throwing the football, I should say, and their net efficiency per drive is number 6 in the country. I mean, all of their metrics are in the green. Their offense is clicking, running the football. LJ Martin is elite, number 15 offense in the nation on the ground. Colorado 74th against the rush, 95th against the pass. Neither of those are good. Defense doesn't have to travel. Colorado's at home. It's not going to matter here. BYU defensively 11th against the pass, 7th against the rush, number 1 in available yards percentage, number 1 in starting defensive field position. They're number 5 in the country on early downs, and they're number 13 in the country on third down success. They keep you from converting third downs, and Colorado is really bad at converting third downs. BYU suffocates the Buffs. I was more impressed with Colorado. I thought they played maybe their most complete game from what I watched against Wyoming. That doesn't give me much. BYU beat ECU 34-13 going on the road against Colorado. I think they're a couple points better than a road game against ECU. BYU is going to win this game 27-16, 27-13. And in the event of 27-16, you cover 6.5. I think BYU cleanly covers 6.5. Those are my best bets this week. So if we want to win some money and we want to do it together, let's go TCU money line. They're going to win at Arizona State. Houston -13.5 against Oregon State. Cincinnati -4.5. West Virginia cannot cover. Utah is going to beat them by 14 or more. And then BYU at Colorado -6.5. Looking at the rest of the Big 12 slate this week to give you some Easter eggs in here. If you don't like any of those, I do think UCF, in my back pocket, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of the UCF money line. Just don't trust Kansas State. UCF's 3-0. Kansas State is 1-3. +7 for the Knights. For me, Baylor -20.5 is the play in the Oklahoma State Baylor game. Baylor's going to win that game in blowout fashion. Go back to where Jerry Kill. Baylor played TCU the first game after firing Gary Patterson. Jerry Kill was the head coach. He knocked off what could have been a college football playoff Baylor team in stunning fashion. I don't think the interim situation is quite as formidable for Oklahoma State going into this one. Iowa State, if I had to pick, Iowa State cover 6.5 against Arizona. Those are the best bets this week in the Big 12. They'll give you my top 5. Those are the ones I'm most confident in on Locked On Big 12. Today's show is brought to you by DoorDash. Almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP. Who delivered? Powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. This player delivered when it mattered most. It's Josh Hoover of the TCU Horned Frogs, delivered in a big way throwing the football. If you've been watching week after week, the performance was not a fluke. And just like Josh Hoover delivered for TCU, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season. You can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive and fuel your game day. Only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18. Today's show is also brought to you by, of course, has to be FanDuel. FanDuel is exactly where I go to place all the best bets in the Big 12 this week. So when you go and place TCU, money line, Houston minus 13.5, and even Kansas minus 4.5, you're going to go to FanDuel to do all of that. FanDuel is your spot to make sure that you lock it in this week in both college football and the NFL. I even love using FanDuel for same-game parlays. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. All right, let's win some money. This has been and always will be Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.